Everybody, my name is Harry Jacobs and I am the North of 60 Gamer, and this is the North of 60 Gaming channel, and welcome. It is Tuesday, June 29th, 2021 here in Yellowknife. The weather is absolutely hot. Now, as you know, I do live in the subarctic, so anything over 20 degrees, 21 degrees Celsius is a bonus, and we have been in the 25 to 30-degree Celsius range, which is very, very warm for us here in Yellowknife. And considering that I do not have air conditioning and the way the sun sits in our north of us, beats down on my little place, and it heats it up to sauna-like levels, and fans and humidifiers just don't do the trick. However, with that being said, let's talk about what I came to talk about, and that is solitaire versus solo. So are those two terms the same thing, or are they completely different? Would you say all solitaire games are solo games, but not all solo games are solitaire? In gaming, this is a kind of a dilemma that not really a dilemma, I just thought about it yesterday. I am the product of maybe the 60s and 70s, and this is what got me thinking of those war games where I used to play solo, and I didn't really think about solitaire versus solo. So I went off to Solo Board Gaming, that is a Facebook group, and said, Hive Mind, help me here. I don't know what to make of this. And so a number of people sort of jumped in, and I'm just going to give you a couple of the highlights. One person had said that one person said they are totally interchangeable to me. I see no need for a distinction, let alone agree with this one. That makes sense. He didn't really give me a reason, and I do like evidence, but we'll get to that in a moment or two. Another person said, I feel it started out as one-player games were solitaire games. Then 1+ games became more popular, so solo mode became part of the vernacular. Since there seems to be more 1+ games than one-only games, solo become the popular term to describe all one-player experiences. So basically what he's saying is that solo games, 1+ player games, just became the vernacular. So the English language is always evolving, so that kind of makes sense. And then one person's view was solitaire is the name of an actual game. Solo mode versus solo only is an extremely common way to describe the difference between games that can play solo and ones that are only played solo. So solitaire, as you know, most people refer to Klondike, Free Cell, Spider. These are solitaire card games played with a normal 52-player deck. So if I said to my family back in 1960 when I was a 14-year-old, I'm going to go play some solitaire, they knew exactly what I was saying, because I was going to put those cards down in those 7 rows and start playing Klondike. So I suppose if we want to go through the sort of the usage of the word. Now, the Latin root of the word is solitarius, which means alone or isolated. Originally was used to describe a widow, but eventually the word came to mean any solitary person. Now, where solo came from, it's just a change as language changes over the time. Back in 1690, the Italian solo, which literally meant alone, was used to talk about people who played musical instruments solo. You know, a violinist, a pianist, all playing solo. And that was pretty much the way it was used in a musical sense from about 1690. It was then used as an adjective in 1712 in a non-musical sense of alone or unassisted. So think about a solo aircraft in 1909. So the first verb is attested to 1858 in a musical sense, and then in 1886 as a non-musical sense. So basically, it's a relatively new term in terms of, in the last 120, 130 years, that solo meaning that I'm going to do something alone, something by myself. And that makes absolute sense. So if we go using that, I think that if you say solitaire or solo, it's the same thing. I don't think there's a differentiation, even though I thought about it being a differentiation, being basically if I played a game like Friday, that is a solitaire game. It is created for one person and one person only. So therefore, it's a solitaire game, much like Patience or Klondike when you're playing a normal card game. And then anything else basically has a one-player mode that can play solo, such as Lost Ruins of Arnak or the new Dune Imperium or Scythe. But I don't think at the end of the day that we need to complicate this. And some people pointed that out to me and saying, why are we complicating this? This is solo is solo. It's not solitaire. It's the same thing. We don't need to overly complicate this whole term. And I agree with that. So at the end of the day, what I'm going to say is that there is no need to overly complicate that term, that solo play and solo mode are the flip side of the same thing. I'm going to play a game solo, and games have solo modes. But to solo a game, regardless of if it's a one player only or one player plus game originally, but has a solo mode, it's the same thing. That's my opinion anyway. And I think that also is many of the people's opinion on the solo board gamers Facebook page. And I thank everyone there that answered and took a little time out this morning to answer that question. But I thought it was just kind of an interesting question to ask in terms of what was going on in my brain as I played Tiny Epic Galaxies solo the other day. Anyway, now on to Kickstarters. It's kind of looks like a kind of a slow week, but we're going to pick out 5 or 6 Kickstarters to kind of take a look at very, very quickly. We're going to try to keep this under 20 to 25 minutes, though I never seem to do that. So I should stop rambling and let's get to the Kickstarter. I do have coffee, as I always do. And cheers. Hopefully you have your coffee and we get ready into the Kickstarters. So thanks, everybody, for taking a minute to watch this video. If you like this kind of content and these discussions, please like this. I'd love to bubble up a little bit more higher in the algorithms that YouTube gives us. Also, subscribe. I would love to have you as a subscriber and make some comments and watch some of my videos. And if you want to be notified, certainly hit the bell. But let's go to Kickstarters. Thanks, guys. It's great. Wow, with all the heat, I've had a lot of problems recording over the last couple of days with sound issues and CPU issues. And we are having a new puppy around the house for fostering. So it is busy here in the North of 60 gaming household. So I'm a little bit late. Usually I like to get this out on Tuesday. It is now Friday. But I am going to get this out, whether it kills me or not. Anyway, first up for Kickstarters, the Millennium War, the MOBA board game with dual modalities. I have no idea what that really means. I know that this is a multiplayer online battle arena style game. It looks very interesting. It is a first-time created game by Winged Titan LLC, and you can see the board. It's got it has a competitive mode. It's 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 90 minutes, 13 plus, and a smart dial. I have no idea what a smart dial is. 3 ways to win: defeat your enemies, destroy your enemies, or claim the Millennial Gate, which obviously is this right here. And you can play it in cooperative mode. So you get a solo game, 1 to 4 players, 90 minutes, 13 plus. And again, I have no idea what that means, nor what that means. We have a number of different heroes, 35 heroes in total. Looks like we have some beautiful miniatures. We've got cards. We've got some testimonials. We have some videos attesting to the wonderful play that this will be. Um, so this, oh, there's the smart dial. Oh, smart dial. I get that. It's for your miniatures. We've seen them in Etsy for Gloomhaven. It keeps track of your life, and it looks like you can interchangeable parts for customization. So that's kind of nice. And here's the whole game, sort of laid out. The heroes miniature sets, Hydra sets. Looks like the stretch goals. Now they're looking for 100 and let's just go up here, 186,000, and they have 62,000, 26 days to go. I think it's going to be a push since they didn't. I generally think you need about 50 to 60% of your goal funded in the first 1 or 2 days, and we're about a third of the way through. This is going to be a tough one to get over the hump, I think. So let's just take a look at the quick prices here. 110 for the core pledge is $137 Canadian or 110 US. We have acrylic standees too, so you can have them instead of, I guess, the beautiful miniatures perhaps. $245 for the MW God pledge. This is all core pledge game components. So it looks like plenty of miniatures that are coming with that. Let's just scroll down a little bit here and see if it shows us that. Oh, there we are. Look at all those miniatures. Oh, tons. If you don't have miniatures, you can have the acrylic standees. I'm a big fan of acrylic standees now. I think they make a good alternative to having to spend money for miniatures. Gives you that sort of in the middle quality. I think quality of life is important. And then we've got some add-ons. And then it explains what's in the core game. It looks like it's a big game. I don't know what the shipping is. Here we explain some of the heroes and look at their miniatures up closer. Nice little campaign. I think it's a little ambitious for a first-time creator, but it does look kind of sweet. I think I'd like to have seen more how-to-play videos, perhaps. But, I'm not an expert. Let's go to shipping. Canada is $39 to $79 if you buy the God pledge. Ooh, a third of the cost. So a third of the cost is going to be eaten up to shipping. $39 US makes it about $50 to $60 for a $110 US game. 110. What's it again? 137. You're pretty close to that 50% mark for shipping, making this a $200 game. I'm not saying this is not a $200 game with all those minis, but it's not a $200 game that I'm going to spend. But I encourage you to go take a look and look through the comments, look through the various assorted materials that are provided by the publisher in order to decide for yourself whether or not that is a game you wish to play. This one is interesting. I don't usually look at the graphic novels, but this one looked kind of unique because it was a graphic novel adventure. And so this is your create your own adventure, the typical, you go into a room and you see all these surroundings. Do you want to go to do this? Go to page 32. If not, go to page 34. And then this time it's with graphic adventures. It is $15 a book, which is quite reasonable. The whole season 4 is $80 with the slipcase for 5 books. I think that's pretty reasonable. I think there's a lot of value in the box. I don't know if it's replayable that much. It says there's lots of replayability because you're not going to get through books, quickly, nor get it right the first time. I remember these books and the novels doing it years ago. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm not interested myself personally, but I thought it would be interesting to just bring this type of a game up because they are out here for those people who are not looking for this. Maybe there's something that you would like to try. So take a look at this. And the shipping is for a single book, $19. You want $15 for the book and $19 for the shipping. I think if you're going to do it, you're going to go in complete or for the season 4. I can't see why you would pick up a single book and spend more for shipping. That's just my take on it. But have a look at this. I think there's some fun stuff here. Anybody who plays Mage Knight, Paul Grogan, I think has been playing a lot of it lately. He admonished me in his on a Facebook the other day because I talked about something else. But these look like really sweet mats. I think he was actually playing with these mats, so he may actually have a sample. I'm not big enough to get that, but there's the compatible Warrior play mats compatible with Mage Knight. Let's just see, $29 for one playmat. Now, that's not too bad. Now, this is the warrior game. I'm not quite sure. It looks like warrior player and then warrior game. So the playmat's about 29 euros, and I'm not sure about the warrior game. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Um, but I have a playmat. I was able to purchase them from Inked Gaming, and I'm not saying you shouldn't get this Kickstarter. I'm just saying that I got it for less than $45, and I didn't have to pay for shipping, and I didn't have to wait till for about 3 or 4 months. Like, you can get it within a couple of weeks if you're in North America and like to deal with Inked Gaming. And then they also have Cthulhu as well. I don't know what the shipping was. I looked at that one region. I don't know what region I'm in even. Doesn't even tell me. Oh, I'm region 2. So one mat's €5. That's not too bad. That's about $8, 7, $8. So I mean, not a bad deal. But I think for me, I would just go with Ink Gaming with a PDF. You can get them on Board Game Geek. Sorry, I don't want to underplay this. I think it's a great idea, and I think every game should have these mats. But for me, you can go over to Ink Gaming very quickly. But hey, this is kind of cool. These are for our war gamers. Orange Swan. This is War in the Pacific. It looks like a rather big game. It's coming in at about 100. What is it? About $146 Canadian. It looks like a fairly big game. War in the Pacific is pretty game. They've got a lot of wooden pieces, so it looks like a lot of high quality pieces. The only thing that kind of was a turnoff was the icon sheet. I hate sticking stickers to wooden meeples. Now they've got around that very interestingly by offering it for €20. You can actually have them do it, which of course would put this game up to about $175. But that is about what you pay for war games now. They're expensive. They are no longer the $10 and $11 games that I played in the 60s and early 70s. So, but it's well worth looking at. That we got some stretch goals, laminated boxes. We got a different canal. We got the 1942 Midway to Guadalcanal, Liette, and then we have a Vessel Power Up. I don't know much about Vessel. I've never really looked at it. 1995 Downfall. So I hope they do fun because there's a lot of good stuff. I think if you're going to go all the way, if it's going to back, where are we? It's already backed. So this is a done deal. You know what? If you're into there, looks like we've got some, most of all the good unlocks going here. So what the heck? I would go for it. And there's a bunch of extra blocks, more stickering service, Ubatex Max, which it's on waterproof polypropylene canvas as opposed to, I guess, a normal board. There's the Commodore version, €199. There's other games in this series. Again, they're all €90, €110. A little expensive for me, but it looks like they're historically accurate. It looks like we've got a lot of smart people putting this in here. It doesn't really say. What about shipping? Shipping. Oh, there we are. 2022. €20 to Canada. Wow, for a big game, €20. So they probably got something going on here with somebody, because most games coming out of European like this would be a €40, 30 to €40. So again, consider Orange Swan Pacific, 1941 to 1945. And here is one, Escape from Asylum, a 1-6 cooperative game. Imperial Publishing. I've had one of their games, and they are a good and experienced publisher, I think. I'm not big into escape games. It looks like there's 2 chapters or 2 games here. Tom Vessels, you can see he's already looked at it. It's a proven game. Unlike we've already released. So this has already been released in several languages. This is just the English version. So it shouldn't take long to get here. Yeah, November. I'm not into escape games myself, but you can see Tom Vessels has it. They've got some, we've got some reviews. We've got some playthroughs. Lots of good stuff going here. We've got some stretch goals. Shipping's not too bad. $12 to $16 for a $45 game. I think that's a pretty good investment if you're into those escape games, which I particularly am not. I've had one on my shelf for about 2 years now, and I just I am not playing it. However, I would take a look at it. It is already funded. It was quite, the goal wasn't particularly high. 791 backers. They've raised 54,000 out of 6,000. But that is the Kickstarter. A little bit less today because I've just finally want to just get it out the door because it is Friday and I like to do this show on Tuesdays. But, between the surgery, the dogs, vacation, and it was Canada Day yesterday, so I didn't get back in yesterday because we were out demonstrating due to the indigenous this residential schools in Canada, and so we wanted to be involved and show our community support. So we were out doing that as well. So if anything, if you like what you saw today, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell if you want to be notified. I thank you very much. The weather here has broken. We're about 20 degrees today as opposed to 30 degrees the other last 3 days, which is a little nicer. And it's quiet in the house. So I will talk to everybody later, and thank you for joining me.